Basel 3, Basel 3, whatever you want to call it. They're going to tighten the screw on banks worth $100 billion or more. But what does that mean for the average Joe, for the mortgage industry? Getting a loan doesn't sound good. Welcome back, everybody. What's up? Another week, another episode with your one and only Kenny Simpson. This is The Brief. And this week, we have lots to go through. There's always so much going on, isn't there? It's just always so much drama. Let's take a look at inventory. Let's just jump right into the inventory, see where we're at. Last week, we were at 2708. This week, we're at 2796. Woohoo! We are making some progress, but it is terrible. July is supposed to be the peak of listings, the peak of home buying season. It's a terrible peak. Anyways, new listings 440, pending 477, and recent sales. I'm throwing that in there. Why not? I just said throw it in there every week. 431 for the week. What else is going on? Interest rates, honestly, they're remaining flat. I was very hopeful they were going to come down. But in regards to interest rates, no. I don't think so. Have you ever heard that one? Yeah, I think we're getting the no, I don't think so. I think the 10-year treasury and everything else going on with the spread from the 10-year to the 30-year, the Federal Reserve continue to raise rates or have this tightened policy, and whether it's language or keep raising rates or just keep them here. So I don't think we're going to see rates come down as soon as we thought. More on that later in the brief, but leave it there for rates. So look, if you got to refi, you got to purchase. If you're trying to play this game, you think they're going to come down a big, unless I'm missing something, unless something crazy happens, which I don't see, lock your rate in. It is what it is, and just look for the refi opportunity in the future because it will be there. I can't promise you, but I can kind of promise you. Jerome Powell raised interest rates last week. He had a lot to say, a lot. I already shot some videos about it, so I don't want to go over it. But one thing he did say that contradicted himself, he literally said that housing inventory is really picking up, and then we were like, huh? And then he said housing inventory is struggling. So I don't know if he didn't know what he said or was in the moment. I get he got all these questions and rambling, and I'm sure who the hell wouldn't up there misquote themselves or missay something. So anyways, inventory, Mr. Jerome Powell, as you already know, yeah, sure, it's picking up a little bit, but it's not very good. And also we are going into the peak and we're going to start going down. So you can clearly look at inventory from any year. You know, you start January to come up and then you come down. So we're kind of starting, we're here, we're going to start going that way. So if it gets any worse than it is now, it's going to be terrible for the end of the year, especially if rates do pull back a little bit, which we'll talk about that shortly. But there's only 72,000 new homes in the market, so the Fed's way wrong. All the crashers and the house busters and the myth busters and whatever busters you are didn't happen. Could there be a housing crash in the future one day? Sure. Is there a housing crash today? No. We have no inventory. We still have buyers that want to buy, even with these high rates, because they know. Do you know what they know? The secret? That it's not a secret? They just know if rates go down and inventory is jammed locked up because everybody's locked in a low rate, but if rates go a little bit lower, and we're talking, guys, let's see the 30-year fix is at 6%, which sounds better than today, like 7. Let's say it goes 1 point. More buyers are going to move off the sideline. Trust me, they are. So they don't want to be caught up, and there's going to probably be less inventory. So don't play the rate game. Don't chase the rates. Just lock in. Be careful about listening to the Fed because they told us inflation was transitory, and now it wasn't. But the good news is inflation has come way down, and the cost of stuff is starting to come down. But as I mentioned in a story today on my Instagram, when you're out and about, you're at a restaurant, you're at a bar, you're talking to somebody and they have a company, you're talking to somebody that works at a company, you're talking to anybody, any of your friends that work in companies, you should ask them a few questions. Number one, are you noticing any different patterns in your job, in your work, in the numbers? You own a restaurant. Are you down? Are you up? Are you flat? If you own a club, are you down? Are you up? Are you flat? You own a bar? Whatever you own, it doesn't matter what industry, what they're doing, ask. What do? I ask. And what I've been hearing, things are down. But also remember, we came out of the peak. We came out, everybody was locked. Everybody saved money. The savings rate was 35%. The credit card debt got paid down by like $350, $400 million, whatever it is. You guys were being responsible. Why? Because you were handcuffed and you had no option. Then they opened the economy. Then you started to go out and eat. Then you can go out to a concert. Then you can go to Las Vegas. And then you can go to Cabo or a trip, get on a plane, get in hotels, and it just kept spinning out of control. And your savings rate went from 35% to 5%. And in September, it's supposed to be gone. And then October, the student housing payments come. But we're already slowing down. I talked to a lot of businesses. all different types of business. You name it. Not all of them are feeling it. Bars, restaurants, clubs, travel, hope that. Some of them are starting to see pain from last quarter down 20%, down 5%, down 8%, down 10%. They're seeing it. So you and me, the consumer, we are not spending as aggressively as we did. That's okay. We're seeing you slow down. We know you're going to run out of money. We know that student debt payments are going to come due. That guess what? You still have to live and survive and all this. So we know this stuff is happening. You're going to slow down. What does that really mean? So when somebody says, hey, my business is down 20%, is it going to stay there? How's it going at 20? I can survive at 20. That's okay. What if it goes lower? We're going to start having problems. That means we're going to have to start laying off people. But hey, the cost of things are down for them too. So it should be passed on to you. Is it being passed on to you? I don't know. So as things slow down, consumers slow down spending, that would mean we would need less people at these jobs. So that means maybe people lose their jobs. Maybe the person that's selling the items they need for their business, maybe they're like, hey, what's going on? You're ordering 20% less. Oh yeah, they're just not showing up. Does that mean eventually they're going to start having to say, hey, you got a discount, and it's a trickle down? I don't know. But anyways, I'm just telling you, the consumer is slowing down. We are slowing down. Inflation's coming down. Is it necessary to keep jacking up rate hikes and doing this stuff? I don't know. But he definitely doesn't want to go too short. He'd rather go too far. He can always pull back that rate quickly and when. So that with the Federal Reserve. Let's jump into the Basel. I should probably learn what the heck this thing means. But so they're going to go and they're going to just tighten the screw. Let's just be simple for you guys. We don't need to get technical. We're not going to get all these terms and lingo and all this because it doesn't matter. What's going to matter if it's a bank that has $100 billion more of assets? They're going to make it harder. They're going to require more liquidity and all this stuff. But what it really means is they are going to do less lending. Whether right now residential, they're probably going to do less lending when it comes to commercial and business and all this stuff. Why? Well, because they're scared, they're nervous, they don't know what's going on. Would this change in the future? Sure. But right now, you're going to see less lending, less this. So what is that going to do? It's going to already affect the economy. It's going to probably affect businesses. It's going to affect commercial. Yeah, they're talking about it affecting housing, mortgages, but it's going to go across the board, guys. If they have to tighten them more and require more liquidity, so every dollar they lend out, they have to, instead of having, let's just make an example, if they have to have $1 in the bank to lend out $100, and then now they go, hey, you have to have $15 to lend $100, they're going to lend less. Whatever the equation is, it doesn't matter. They're going to lend less. It's going to be felt in the economy. The smaller players that are below will probably have less restrictions so they can lend, which is good because they do a lot of the lending, but it is going to affect people for sure. So anyways, ending Basel III, it's not going to really help the economy. It's not going to help lending. It's going to penalize. People aren't happy. If you don't put 20% down, you're going to get a higher rate and all this stuff. So we don't know what it means, but I can tell you, if you tighten the screw with anything, when we came out of the last recession, it tightens the screw. It doesn't help. When you make lending harder, people lend less. It's hard to get loans. So we already know with rates this high and everything, banks are already not wanting to lend. We're just making it worse. So we will see how this plays out. I'm not going to sit here and make some assumptions and guess, but I can just tell you it's already hard to get financing with commercial and business and all this stuff. Residential's there because we have Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, right? There's the non-QM space. We're still lending. Yes, rates are high, so affordability is hard, and a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines. But tightening the screw right now, a lot of people do not agree with it, even though the banks, we had some crisis. They think this is ridiculous. I don't know. What do you guys think? The Fed is also saying in this last week that no more recession. They're not seeing a recession. Is that true? Who knows? Like I said, be careful of listening to the Fed because they also said inflation was transitory and they should have started raising rates like way earlier in 2021 and they took till 2022. And a lot of people think they're going too far, which I probably agree they are, but you know what? They're going to do it. They don't care what you and I think because they're going to protect their ass. They're going to make sure they're good and they can always come back and chop rates and lower it back down. But they want to see pain. They want to see it in the consumer. They want to see it in the job market. They want to see it. And the reason why we're probably not going to have a full-blown recession or something is because housing, they locked us all up on nice low interest rates with nice low payments. And guess what? They're not selling. There's no inventory, so the housing market's doing pretty good. But there was inventory, we would have had a crash. So you doomers and gloomers and whatever you guys are, yous, as I said last week out there, probably would have been right. But this time, you got it wrong. Same with people that work at the Fed. Check this survey out. 60% of mortgage homeowners have lived in their house 4 years or less. Think about that, okay? Number one. Number two, 1 out of 7, according to Realtor.com, said they would not sell because they're locked in on that low rate. So 1 in 7 said they would not give up that low rate. That seems a little low. I think it's a lot higher than that, but 1 out of 7. Also, they didn't ask the question, well, would you keep your property? But keep in mind, the median homeowner today is staying in their property 13 plus years. So all this data that 60% of mortgage loans are 4 years or less they live in it, that's purchases and stuff. So guys, these people bought at a good time. They locked in at a good time. And 1 out of 7 says they're not gonna do anything. I think it's a lot higher than that, but that's just my opinion. But look, these people are frozen. They're not going anywhere until rates come down. It's gonna take a long time to do this. Let's look at what you need to make in some of these popular cities to afford just an entry-level home. This is fascinating. San Francisco, what do you think somebody needs to make just to afford, remember, the entry-level home? Did I hear 150? Can I hear 180? Do I hear 190? Anybody at 200? Anybody at 210? Can I want 210 going once? 210 going twice? 210 sold. San Francisco, 210. Austin, 92,000. Phoenix, 86,000. Miami, 80,000. A U.S. starter home average across. Remember, these are starter homes. Across the U.S., you need to make $65,000 to afford a starter home. Is that insane? I don't know. I'm sure at some point back in the day, you had to make $5,000 a year to buy a starter home. So that's what it is. That's rates. That's cost of housing. That's the pain. What else is happening too is think about it. People are locked in those houses. They're not going to give up that rate. They're not going to give up those payments. So there's less houses available. So more people are renting, right? So that means rents are going to go up. I don't know, especially in states where people want to move or cities and they're not building. I don't know. It's crazy times. I know we went through a lot of data. A lot of stuff to read this week, but this week there's a lot of news coming out again. We will continue to watch it. I don't think rates are going anywhere anytime soon. I think the Federal Reserve is like sticking to their guns. They're off for the next 5 weeks. I think when we come into August, everybody's off here for the next 5 weeks. They won't be meeting back till September, so it'll be pretty quiet. So we will see a lot of data what comes in from July, August, and when they meet back in September, they'll have some new fresh data. Remember, people are going to be running out of savings in September, October, student loan payments come due. That's if people actually pay them, and there's still no inventory, but we will keep you updated week after week. And if you're looking to buy a home, I think it's a good time to buy a home, because if you wait for rates to come down, you'll be joined by millions of people nationwide that will be buying and having the same thought process as you. And remember, we learned from the pandemic that people would like to have a 2 or 3% rate, and they'd way overpay for a property, then take a higher rate, pay less. Why? Because they just want to know they have a fixed low rate mortgage, 30 years. It makes them feel good, cozy, and comfortable. And I don't blame them. Until next week, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please share this with others. Any feedback? I love your feedback, but have a good week. Stay tuned.